Would you consider supporting social, economic, and environmental studies that look at Central Saanich returning to its roots and rejoining Saanich?
Alistair Bryson, I like the idea of walking along there. You get longer to think about things. The answer to the question, from my point of view, is no, I wouldn't invest money in those studies because I've read other studies from other areas that have amalgamated and they haven't made the cost savings. For example, I know that it's not the example given, but if we compare policing costs just as one thing, in Central Saanich we pay about $220 per capita for policing costs. I know that Victoria is over $400 per capita for policing costs at this point, and Esquimalt $360 or so. So I'm just not sure where the savings are going to come from if we were to look at amalgamation. And I think people really enjoy actually having local representatives who they can phone up at any time and speak to them. Thank you.
I'm going to be hearing that bell all night long. My name is Sue Stroud. No, I don't agree with going back to amalgamating with Saanich. I don't think that's the answer. I think that we have enough people in this area that we can come up with solutions of our own to solve the problems that we're facing. We can share things. I said the other night, and I firmly believe that we should have our fire training done at Royal Oak on the new fire training center there. And I believe North Saanich is building a new fire training center as well. And Nanaimo built a state-of-the-art fire training center that was intended, in fact, to be the training center for the whole island. So why we need to keep duplicating services, I don't know. Thank you.
Hi, Kathy Armstead. I do not support putting any funding into studies with regard to amalgamation. I do not support amalgamation. Having spent 6 years on our Central Saanich Police Board, I am completely in support of community policing. It's to our benefit. We can't afford not to have our own policing in this community, as well as our own fire service. So I do not support amalgamation or putting money into the studies. Thank you very much.
Again, I mean, this is not an issue that I have personally considered before. It's not something that I would personally think of as my first priority to amalgamate, but I also would want to follow other candidates and say that it's not something that I would rush out to spend money on more studies for. But I think this speaks to one of my platforms is that I think part of restoring transparency and engagement for the citizens of Central Saanich would be to make a regular practice of holding true community roundtables. I know that we have some town halls, but I've heard experience from people that often those are just more like slightly less formal council meetings. So I think that this would be a perfect topic for one of the regularly scheduled roundtables, and that we could come out with an action plan where we would listen to the community voice, and if people really wanted us to go ahead with this, I think it's something we could look into. Thank you.
This is a really, really complicated question because you have several layers of servicing in municipalities. You have police, you have fire. Are there opportunities to work with North Saanich and Sydney more closely to create synergies that would still allow proper servicing of the three areas so that no one is left out? Sure. Is it up to us as individual councillors to unilaterally make that decision? No. It's got to be up to every resident in the municipality whether or not they see a benefit in changing the way the servicing works, or if we keep the way the servicing works currently so that we have police and fire unto ourselves. So again, it really does boil down to choosing how you want servicing, whether or not there's opportunities there.
Thank you, John Garrison. I don't think you're going to hear too many different stories tonight on this question. From my perspective, I wouldn't spend the money to do that. So the preamble suggested that that Saanich had a professional fire department. Well, I think we have a professional fire department. Well, that works very well. We have a professional police department that works very well as well. So from my perspective, we also have intermunicipal agreements to deal with action between the municipalities. So from my perspective, I think it would be money not well spent at this time to look at it. I think we're doing quite well. Thank you.
It's multi-layered or difficult. Amalgamation, no. Obviously, that person that's really nice for Saanich, we probably live in Saanich. We have the best police, the best fire, the best municipal staff, the best public works. We are the MD of the rest of the CRD. Maybe they would like to amalgamate with us, the Central Saanich is Central Saanich.
Thank you. My name is Ed King. For my studies in public administration at UVic, I've read about amalgamation, and the studies indicated that there aren't the cost savings that you would think there were right away. However, we can make our regional governance more efficient, and we can review this issue periodically, but I wouldn't spend the money on further studies. I think, though, the question is important, so that we're always thinking about whether or not we can rationalize and find those synergies and work together in different ways and not become complacent. One of the studies is by Robert Fish. I encourage people to read it. I'm getting older now, but it's worth reading. I am open-minded in terms of having this discussion, but I wouldn't spend the money on further studies. Thank you.
Robert Thompson, the answer is no, and generally when I look to working together, it tends to be north as opposed to south, with North Saanich and Sydney, which is really the natural peninsula. I think service sharing is obviously being done. We can do more of that. One of my concerns, North Saanich, when it had its eggplant, and we got our eggplant, they wanted to create their own branding, etc. That doesn't make sense to me. I think when we look at certain issues like agriculture that should be done on a peninsula-wide basis to promote the peninsula, for example, with the rural areas of Saanich, Central Saanich, and North Saanich. Thank you.
Carl Jensen. Do I believe in cost savings, sharing of best practices? Yes. Is that done through becoming a suburb of Saanich? Amalgamation? No. Cost savings are a great way to look at the budget. How do we maintain the debt? Am I going to do that by asking our volunteer firefighters who are already volunteering their time to go and use training facilities in North Saanich, Saanich, or even Nanaimo? No. They're giving enough already. And if we can give them the ability to train here in their own community and save them additional time than what they're already spending out there, saving their lives for us, I think that's the best thing we can do for them.
My answer is no, over my dead body. I believe in integration, not amalgamation. Statistics prove that amalgamation is more costly. And I think it would cost more than just dollars. It's knowing that firefighter or that policeman that comes to your door and trusting him, and he knows you. It's being able to stop at the municipal hall and the person knows exactly where you live and probably knows your name. How do you put a price on that? That is priceless. And that's what makes Central Saanich so special and such a rare and wonderful place to live.
Wayne Spencer. Amalgamation, I think at some point in the distant future, it is likely. It was forced in the Hamilton area, it was forced in Kamloops, provincial governments. I think that working with other municipalities more closely is definitely something that should be done. But as far as working towards amalgamation, not while I'm here. My kids maybe, but I think that it should be community involved through roundtables and working closer with other municipalities, not towards amalgamation, but towards shared services.
I just have to say that what Terry said, it was well said. Being around the council table for the last 3 years and then around our colleagues in the region, what he said about our services, especially the fire and the police services, is true. Every person that I've talked to has spoken very highly of the service that we receive from our fire department, from our police department. I have colleagues that I've spoken with in Esquimalt over the last 3 years about the most recent, what happened with their policing service. They are not happy. It is not good to have a police cruiser come from out of the region and just drive around your community. We have very, very good policing services here, community policing. And what I'll say is that I don't think that with access to governance as one of the main issues about this election, that we want to be sending our governance south or even north. Thank you.
My name is James McNulty, and I do not support amalgamation. And the firewall keeps coming up. I was concerned about the safety of our community, so I went to City Hall to talk with the fire chief and that gentleman in the back right there. He assured me the proper process for site selection had taken place, and it was not done in haste. Also, the response times would be improved for residents in Brentwood Bay without negatively affecting other residents. I encourage anyone with concerns about our fire department to go down and ask some questions. We're lucky to have a dedicated group of men and women protecting us. And I think we owe them a round of applause right now.
I think we have to back up. Ooh, that was loud. And ask yourself what do we value. We value local planning, local self-destiny, and local service levels that are appropriate for our community. So no, I wouldn't support amalgamation, but I would support a study on integration with Saanich and with the peninsula to try and find ways to find cost savings, innovative cost savings, sharing services where appropriate. I want to keep the Central Saanich planning and government in Central Saanich, and I want Central Saanich citizens to be setting the level of service that they want. Though I must admit the appeal of a big Saanich tax base is awfully tempting. All right, thank you.